Hey everybody, it's Jameson, and today I'm playing around a little bit with Bullseye's steel blue. And so I thought, why not just turn on the camera and share with you what I'm working on. So I've got two different projects going, and I'm going to tell you right up front, one of them I'm not going to finish. And so you're not going to get a classic, perfect, wrapped up, happy ending on this one, but I'll explain why in a little bit. So a couple of things I'm working on. I've got a quarter sheet or so of this. It's a powder blue that Bullseye has put some of their steel blue opalescent in, and I think it's really pretty. And at the right firing temperature, quite a bit of this should kind of turn silver, which I think would be a neat effect. Now, a couple of things notes on Bullseye's steel blue. So they have a steel blue opalescent, which is what you're seeing within this piece. They also have steel blue transparent. And they have firing notes on these, and so I'll post some links in the video description that you can find underneath this video to some of those Bullseye resources. This steel blue is a little bit of a mystery in terms of exactly how it can behave, and so you have to kind of know that going in. Now, for these pieces, let's talk about this one first. For this piece, I would like to sell these as plates. I'm going to get two pieces out of this. And this steel blue has copper in it, and it is not listed on Bullseye's resource of glass that has cadmium or lead in it, so I shouldn't have to be too concerned about food safety generally. However, with that copper, and then you get this kind of copper reaction, I'll talk about this piece in a little bit, I don't think that the silvery finish that can come would be necessarily food safe. I don't know for sure, but here's what I'm going to do. If you cap this and fire it to a full fuse, it's not going to turn silver. You're not going to get that silver effect. So capping it makes it food safe, but then you're not. Excuse me. It's a beautiful piece of glass, but you're not going to get the silver effect, and that's what I want. So here's what I'm going to do. I know now going in, I'm going to have to fire this piece multiple times. The first time I fire it, I'm just going to put some Tekta underneath, and then I'll fire it and hopefully get that silver effect, and that'll look cool. Then I'm going to dust a fairly thick coating of clear powder on it, capping it with that clear powder, which I'm hopeful, we'll see how this turns out, but I'm hopeful that will then trap the silver finish within the clear underneath. If I capped it with clear, I'll never get the silver. So I'm going to fire it first, get the silver, then cap it with clear, and hopefully kind of capture and keep that silver finish. This copper, because the steel blue has copper in it, this can leave a little bit of a copper deposit on your kiln shelf, which can then impact sulfur-bearing, I believe, glass in the future. So if I were to fire, for instance, a French vanilla sheet directly on my kiln shelf after having fired this, it may pick up some of this. You have to fire that out over time. You have to, or scrape your kiln shelf and reapply. Their website talks about even with thin fire paper that can happen. Now, I don't use thin fire, I use papyrus because I like papyrus better because it's thicker, so that might help prevent that as well. But you just need to know that going in so that you don't fire something perhaps immediately after and then get a reaction and wonder what happened. This piece was a sheet of steel blue transparent that I fired. I think this was the transparent. Shoot, now that I'm questioning myself, yeah, this was transparent that I fired, and I got this awesome effect to it. Now, I've done another video on this. These were just Tekta blobs that I placed on that glass. So my base layer was clear Tekta, then a piece of the steel blue transparent, and then, no, that doesn't make sense because this isn't transparent. It was steel blue opalescent. Sorry, it was steel blue opalescent. So the steel blue opal on top, and then I put on these pieces of Tekta blobs. And so what you are seeing happen here is, where there was clear capping the steel blue, it didn't turn steel. You didn't get that silvery effect. So you got you know, the silver outline is really cool, and this is what I was going for. Now this obviously, or at least obvious to me, would not be food safe. If there's anybody watching this video from Bullseye that wants to comment on food safety of your steel glasses, let me know. Drop something in the notes, because that would be interesting to know. But I fired this piece thinking it could, you know, just be a decorative piece. If I had some light under this, you would see the light comes through. It looks kind of cool. But when I pulled it out, this was very disappointing to me. And I don't know that you're gonna be able to see this. Yeah, you probably can. So can you see the sticker residue from the price tag? Now I swear to you, I am so careful when I'm cleaning my glass. And so I am confident this was clean, but you still get some sticker residue that appeared there. Even worse, this you may not be able to detect too much, but right along here, you can actually see my handwriting where I had written steel blue on this sheet of glass, and it was in marker, Sharpie marker, and I cleaned this off. It was black Sharpie, I remember. And I cleaned this off, and it still picked up, very faint, but you can very faintly see steel blue. And then there were just some other spots that didn't quite fire. You know, there's some different look to it. One of these nuggets here of Tekta got devitrification on it in a weird kind of way. And so I pulled this out, I'll be honest, I pulled this out and I was really kind of ticked, mostly because of the sticker. So I put it away. This has been stored away for 6 months or so, and I got it back out and thought, I'm gonna play with this a little bit and see if I can learn from this piece. And here's what I'm gonna learn. And so I'm inviting you along on the learning journey, as I say. I'm gonna take some diamond pads and I'm gonna sand this off. And I'm gonna try to get rid of the finish that I'm seeing here and use those diamond pads to really kind of take all of that off. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna expose the glass underneath, I think. So we'll see what that looks like. And then I'm gonna sand this and some of these other areas. I'm just gonna try to get a nice good sanding on this, not over the whole thing, but in some of these trouble areas. And then I'm gonna put it back in the kiln and I'm gonna refire it. And what I think is gonna happen, and we're gonna learn together, is I think that will re-fire to silver again, and hopefully won't see some of this pattern and some of these issues. And then I'm going to use this piece to learn from. I'm going to, in some other video and sometime in the future, I've never done any drop vases, and I would love to do a drop vase, and I think this could look cool as a drop vase. So I'll add some extra layers of glass to kind of build this up a little bit, and then ultimately turn it into a drop vase. And so that's not going to happen now. That'll have to be something in the future. What we'll get out of this video is whether or not sanding off this and refiring it kind of brings this back to silver and looks nice and kind of fixes some of the flaws that I've got on there. So stand by. We're going to sand this off, give this a sanding with the diamond pads, and try to knock some of that off. And then we'll go back into the kiln with it, and I'll show you what these other pieces look like that I fire as well. Okay, well that was a little bit of a mess. I had my mask on and I had my glasses on, and I just kind of sprayed this off with water. I'm gonna go give it a really good cleanup. But as you can see, I just kind of went crazy on it. I figured, what do I got to lose? I'm gonna learn something in this process and see what that looks like. So I used my diamond hand pad, a relatively coarse grind, 120, to kind of take that, a lot of that silver finish off. Look how easily some of that came off. It didn't come off so easily in the middle because I've got all these raised areas, so so it wasn't fully level. If you had sandblasting equipment, that would be a real easy way to take care of this, but me no fancy. I don't have all that type of equipment, just some good old-fashioned cold working stuff here. And so now what I'm going to do is put this back in the kiln and full fuse it and see what happens. I'm hoping all these scratch marks kind of heal up nicely. These will get a really nice new fire because I'm doing a full fuse on this. I'm going to go up to 1475. So hope we'll learn together and see what comes out. It's a hot mess right now. It looks disgusting, but I'm hoping that it comes out of the kiln looking gorgeous. We'll see. Okay, this is hilarious to me. So that silver didn't come back. So I don't know about this glass. Does it not have but one silvering in it, if you will? I don't know what to do with this one. We'll see. these two pieces turned out nice. So you do get the silver that developed in some of that. So now what I'm going to do is put some clear powder over the top to kind of seal that in and refire those two pieces. So we'll see what those look like after I do that. I don't know what to say about this guy. I might just keep pushing it around for a while until I decide what to do next. I don't know, it's almost as if a little bit of silver tried to come back. Do you see that? This is fascinating. I don't know what to do with him. Okay, you probably saw me go in beast mode on this thing. I've decided just to take out all my aggressions on this piece of glass. So I wanted to go ahead and knock off all the silver. You saw I was using a diamond pad. It was just a 60 diamond pad. So this is super rough. I've got scratches all over it. Those of you who are, you know, professional glass artists were probably watching me and wincing because I'm sure I was just destroying this piece, but it's going back in the kiln. I'm going to do a full fuse on it and should get a hopefully decent fire polish on it and see what happens. I don't know, maybe the magic of steel blue, it'll all come back. Maybe it'll look like total crap. I've kind of given up on this piece of glass generally. So now it's just a learning opportunity for both of us. So I'm gonna put it back in with another load that I got going. We'll put it on full fuse and see what it looks like when it comes out. Okay, after yet another full fuse firing, this is what I got. And I'll tell you what, this piece is confounding me. It's equally frustrating and fascinating at the same time. So you saw that I went beast mode on this thing and scratched the hell out of it to try to get most of that silver off. In fact, I got all the silver off. I will contend I had all that silver off, and it started to come back in some places, but not everywhere. And it fire polished pretty nicely in the areas where there was the clear Tekta, but not so much in the steel blue. I don't know what I'm doing with this one next. I may put it in at a lower temperature. I may put it in when I, you know, do 1300, 1350 on something and see what happens with it. So for now, I don't have anything going in the kiln at that temp. And I've got a couple other projects, so I'm going to put it to the side, but just wanted to show you. Some of the silver came back, but not consistently across the whole piece. I can't really discern why some came back and others didn't. So again, if there's anybody from Bullseye watching this that has a better idea, would love to hear it. Thanks. Okay, I've got heartache in the kiln and I'm just showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So these blue pieces that I capped with clear to retain the silver lost the silver when I refired it. And that's super disappointing. What's more disappointing though, is I was trying to maximize my kiln space and got a little tight on some things. And that one ended up touching that piece. These two pieces ended up touching this piece. Pardon me, but holy shit. I mean, I had a rough day anyway, and then I opened the kiln and find this. I'm gonna have to cut these pieces apart. I'm going to have to do some cold working to try to fix them again. I'm just beside myself today. So that's the end of the video on these blue pieces. The other steel blue piece did not go as I planned either. So I've got a lot of discovery to do. I'm gonna cut these apart, try to do some cold working, try to fix them and slump them, but I'm ending the video at this so that you can, you know, kind of see what happened with the steel blue. Pretty disgusted tonight. Signing off, this is Jameson. Hope everybody continues their learning journey and maybe some of your learnings go a little bit. Here's the lesson I learned. Don't get too tight in the kiln. I had plenty of room. I did another full fuse. I truly thought I had plenty of room, that the volume on these wouldn't change any, that they wouldn't move, and son of a gun if they didn't move. So I guess the lesson I learned there is take your time, spread things out, don't assume. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.